Well, welcome to our 10th session of the Red Star Rising campaign's adventure titled The Coldest of Blood. It is designed by Gooey Cube and presented by the Greater Mulemaster Beholder Corps, where we hope your minds will be opened by wonder tonight. Bring a tissue tonight. We are a program powered by the Tabletop Misfits, and playing, as always, are Zane and Mark, Lee, the Mighty Trey, and Chris. And I am Casey, also known as the Emissary of the Great Mother. So, we've been waiting a long time for this. I ask my aberrations. Shall we begin?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I don't have issues.
Well, the eyes have
All
it.
eyes, it's all tubers.
Yep, all about the eyes. Well, considering eyes, I know our audience can't see it, but there he is, the little pet holder. All right, my little vanity pet in real life. The horror of what lies before us is more than any one person can bear alone. Smoke and fire and death is all that remains. So previously on the Red Star Rising campaign, you guys met up with Cassandra, the ranger, who you assisted in making quick work of a group of ogres and their sturge-filled jar of dough, and their pet greenspine panther, and found that they had an interesting little den going on with some great stuff inside, including a whole load of treasure. But you managed to fulfill your goal of gathering wood and water and food for the troop who were camped along the road before you got too buried in the snow out in the forest. And you also completed your charge from Selphalanea to eradicate the woods of the ogre threat. And so that was kind of you and very heroic. And you took the opportunity then to return to I'm busy, buddy. Sorry. To return to the camp before the snow accumulated too much. And on your way back, you actually smell smoke and see what looks like the glow of a fire. And so you quicken your pace. And you finally reach the clearing where the camp had been set. But what greets you was a horrific sight. Most of the wagons were on fire, and the troops' possessions are strewn all about the area. And there are bodies, lots of bodies that lie in the snowy field. And the bodies are those of your kin. And there are other bodies as well. There are tall, hairy, dog-faced humanoids with weapons and armor. And there are bloodstains in the snow. You see the bloodstains in the jumping light of the flames. And eerily, there's no noise that comes from the camp save for the crackling of the fires as they consume the wagons. Yet the wind blows, and it whips the fire into a frenzy, pushing the snow ever harder now as it's coming down, as the heat from the fire kind of whips up the snow and in the wind, and the snow stings your faces. The wagons look as if they've been shattered, and the bodies lying about as well. But there are all manner of items that are cast about the glade. Broken boxes, sundered barrels, clothing, blankets, a tiny doll. It's probably Calistia's. And it lies half buried in the snow, near a pool of blood. So the impact of what you see begins to come upon you in greater and greater waves. As you enter the glade and you realize that this is no dream, this is no joke. Literally, the broken, and in some cases even beheaded bodies and missing limbs of your family are lying in the snow, scattered about, some on fire, some charred, some full of arrows. Broken limbs at odd angles, some with even bone jutting out. Hannah, tell me what your first reaction is.
Spread out, everyone. We need to make sure that there's no gnolls left, and find any survivors. Holler if they need healing. And she starts running towards the center of the camp, looking for people. Anyone who might still be alive.
Okay. Gror, what do you do when she does that? She takes off towards the center of camp.
Gror will say, "You heard Kenna," and he'll start running towards where he thinks his family's wagon would be.
Okay. Right. Theros, you see Gror take off running towards his family, and you know that he is terrified of what he might find. What do you do?
Since Theros is a man of action, he immediately spends a rage point and proceeds to sprint into the charredness, yelling, "Look for the youngsters! Look for the youngsters! Look for anyone who ran into the woods! Look for tracks! If they're not here, they're hiding!" And proceed to run in. Well, do we have... I see the tokens out here. Do we have indications of that? Because I can see my mother.
Yes.
There. Do I see her?
If you run that direction, yeah, you would. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. I'll come to Gror, or I'll come to Fleegan and Kimber in a moment. But Theros, you notice as it's fairly close to the to where you enter back into the camp area, the wagon that your mother was kind of convalescing in as she was beginning to heal is almost completely burned to the ground. Most of the wood planks from the wagon and stuff are still smoldering at this point, and there's smoke drifting of it. But you notice the telltale sign of her dark green skin and black hair, kind of half buried in the snow. But there is a large pile of bodies all around her. These hairy beings. I'll show you a picture of them. There you go. And you find your mother, Kalnassi, and she lies in death near her wagon. As I mentioned, a large number of corpses are piled about her. Your mother clearly accorded herself well against the dog-like creatures, but clearly not well enough, as there were too many of them. Not even sure your father and her together could have done better than she did alone, just by the looks of it. She shows many wounds, and her face and her arms show a strange sight. You see deep purple veins beneath her skin, all over her skin, especially where her clothes have been torn and ripped from her body. And it's bulging from her necks, and it's just lining throughout her eyes and her face. Deep purple veins beneath her skin. She also has the remnants of froth about her mouth, and her eyes are just severely bloodshot with the same purple veins that are on her skin. And Grunta and Bread lie beside her, faithful to the end. Glor, you run to your family's wagon, and surely enough, the liquor that was stored inside had caught fire and caused a calamity, just shattered. There's nothing left of the wagon. But you find both your mother and your father, Stoof and Lena, lying near the wagon. They share the wagon with Tevrin and Friasha and Clasby. You find their broken bodies nearby as well. But your parents are lying there in a horrible state, twisted by their disease. Even more twisted than you had ever seen. Your father's head has been nearly severed from his body. And your mother has a huge gash across her belly. And you can imagine what that's done to her insides and what you see there coming forth. And their faces have strange purple-black veins beneath their pale skin, and their eyes are bloodshot and purple. And you see froth surrounding their mouths and coming out. And even nearby, Clasby lies face down in the snow with a hatchet buried in the back of his skull. You see two burning bodies next to where the wagon was, and you're pretty sure that those are the bodies of Tevrin and Friasha, as you see the remnants of a bit of fire-red hair laying next to the rest of the charred body, and a telltale trinket that Tevrin was often known to carry. Ember, what are you doing?
Look for Anton! If he's standing, he's probably helping someone. If he's not, we need to get him standing so he can help. And I rush towards the nearest person I can see and start fumbling for the scroll that I still have that has healing magic upon it, for mine is spent. And look to see if anybody is breathing. And I'm so upset that I'm ready to cast it on even someone that isn't breathing, just because I may be wrong. And, so that's what I'm doing. I'm rushing from person to person.
All right. You head over towards the first wagon on the right that is not aflame, but it's you just notice as you're heading that direction that the wheels have been completely shattered, and it looks like if it was fixable, it would take some time and some days to be able to put it back into order. Flagon, what's your reaction to all of this?
Fleegan would like to use a rage point and rage.
So you're multi-classing into barbarian there?
Why
Well,
do you do that?
I spent so much time on Theros' head. It's got to rub off, you know.
That's obviously not a bad idea, you know? Get a little bit of rage with your sneak attack and
Yeah. Fleegan immediately starts to call out in anger and frustration, almost to the point where you think he's just a little bit nuts. He's walking around, he runs up and he says, "Fire! Fire!" As he's looking around for people who may or may not. Okay, my dog apparently likes the fact I say fire. Looking for
Max.
survivors. Yeah, that's Max. Looking for Vessi.
Okay. All right. All right. You kind of move your way into here a little bit. Kenna, as you're moving farther into the center of the camp, you actually can't mistake the body of your father.
Immediately start checking to see if there's any sign of life at all.
Yeah. He lies in the center of a circle of at least 6 of these dog-like creatures. And all of the hairy monsters are pierced by arrow and dagger. He is face up, shirtless, with a broken bow at his side. His blood is staining the snow around him. And you pause as you reach to even check for a pulse, as you notice strange purple veins covering his face and his chest. And there are piercing wounds that just cover his body, all oozing just kind of a pussy purple tinged blood. And
Poison?
his eyes are open, but they stare that stare that you've seen your whole life. And you know without even having to touch him that he has passed from this world.
Okay, now she's extremely mad. I'm
Here you can borrow a rage point,
yeah.
like Fleegan.
Yeah, she looks at Cray very frustrated and then proceeds on to see if she can find anyone else alive. She's going to be specifically looking for Mother and Vestia. But now she's like very angry, like near berserk.
Understandably. Theros, how do you respond when you see your mother in this state?
Grab soul into the nearest monster, whatever these things are. It's dead. He's butchering the thing.
You start hacking and slashing on these things. And you actually remember having encountered these now that you got a closer look at them and felt the blade of Graxel bite deeply into their sundered bodies. You have this odd sense of pride in how many of them your mother was able to take down alone, considering how strong and wiry they are just from the feel of the sinew in the bone cracking underneath your slashes at these things. And you remember that you had encountered these at the Shrine of Jinx back a few days earlier, and they're gnolls. And the odd thing about them, but it stands out, is that they all have a brand, either branded into their chest or their arms, that is that image of that melting skull that you guys have come across a few times throughout the last few days. Ember, the first recognizable individuals that you come across, and it's somewhat surprising that you recognize them considering their state, but you do simply because two severed heads of two of the most dearest people that you have ever met and talented individuals you have ever heard lie on the ground next to this wagon, and that's the bards Grayson and Grelda. Their bodies laying near their heads have been cut and broken, and a massive amount of emotion wells up in your chest as you realize that no more will the world hear their beautiful voices, or laugh at their wit, or dance to their song, or fall asleep with a smile at their lullabies.
Why? He just falls to his knees and just starts bawling, totally useless at this point. I mean, he doesn't even want to open his eyes again after seeing what he just saw. So he's pretty useless right now, just on the ground, starts pounding the snow and whatever's in front of him. He doesn't even open his eyes to see what it is he's hitting at.
Go ahead and give me a perception check, please. Roar, you've found your family.
So, Thor is going to try to find anything to cover them with after he closes their eyes and tries to set them in some kind of semi-natural place or position. He'll take his cloak off or whatever if he has to, if there's nothing else laying around.
Yeah.
That they're like protected.
Okay.
Even like, ruin of, carts or wagons or whatever. Something to kind of protect them.
Okay. There are items scattered about, but for the most part, simply because of their wagon was obviously had exploded. Most everything was either shattered or torn or burned beyond use, and so the use of your cloak is the most appropriate thing that you can find right off the bat, to lay over the top of them. Their bodies are warm, even laying in the snow, but you quickly surmise that it mostly is likely from just the sheer heat of the conflagration that ruined their wagon at this point. A sense of calm, very strange, kind of enters your feelings, just knowing that they're warm in this very cold place. It's an odd feeling. But about the only thread of hope and sanity that you're clinging to in the tragedy that's before you. Tell me how your brain is coping with this.
So he remembers that he was told to keep a score, the things that are done against him and his family, and that this will be tallied to be settled later. And like I said, again, he'll protect them, so he puts his cloak over his mother, and he takes his tunic off that's over his armor from his back and covers his father with that. And then he, says an oath or a prayer, perhaps the same, either way. Vengeance, and a grudge is set in his mind, as his family's tradition is. And he begins to look around for any other signs of, other than the gnolls being here, something that would make sense out of any of this, clues or other emblems. He definitely tries to take note of the brand on the gnolls right now, as far as putting that image into his mind for his grudge.
Give me an intelligence saving throw.
And the fighter pulls it out.
You have been blessed, obviously, and the celestial realm has heard your prayer. This is something that is unimaginable that a individual would have to encounter and see before them. And in most cases, it would drive an individual to temporary, if not permanent, insanity. But your actions, your demeanor, and your prayer have led to the ability to avoid any sort of sanity calamity or debuff at this point.
At least any further damage.
Any further damage, yeah. Ultimately in breaking the fourth wall in game terms, no sanity. I don't have to make a sanity check. Fleegan moves his way up towards where Ember is saying his piece and lamenting the loss of Grayson and Grelda. And while he is doing such and kind of wiping the tears that are streaming down his face, he notices that Bran is lying bent over a barrel. And Fleegan, you kind of both see this simultaneously. There are dog creatures that are splayed about him. And he as well wears no shirt. You can plainly see the dark purple veins covering the skin on his back and his arms. And he is pierced with 3 arrows and has many, many, many cuts across the rest of his body. But it looks as if his spine has likely been shattered in a number of places, just from the odd, smooth shape of his back, of which you've seen in training, usually is quite muscular in the definition. As there's really almost no fat on his body, the definition of his spine is usually very prominent in it's almost non-existent, especially with his body being bent over the barrel and quite taut. But Kimber, you notice in his hand, he seems to have a pendant clutched, made of dark silver.
Right. This is really hard for Kimber to do right now, but he'll open up Brian's hand and try to drop it out of his hand. And if that doesn't work, then he'll carefully pry it from his hand.
Cold, dead hand.
Yeah, and it is a cold, dead hand, and it's quite difficult for you to open his fingers as they're clutched around this thing. Can you give me a sleight of hand check, please? Yeah. Your hands are trembling as you do so. Plus, he's a very strong man. I mean, he's a monk. I mean, he uses his fists and his legs, and he's got a death grip on this thing.
I just yell something kind of out that the symbol of this beast is in Brian's hand. I can't get it out. And then I jump up and I start running for one of the wagons on fire, and I said, "Put the fires out, the children are burning." And I just start grabbing snow off the ground and just start shoveling it at the closest burning wagon.
Okay. All right. Fleegan, you had mentioned that you were looking for Vestia, and some of you said you were even talking about trying to find or look for the kids. And you haven't been here for much time at all, but it's beginning to dawn on you that you're definitely seeing the broken bodies of most of the troop, but not in any location as of yet. Have you seen any sign of any of the children? Fleegan, as you pass Brian, you begin to wonder, are they burning? Were they in the wagons, or were they somewhere else? It's not too late as if it would have been bedtime. It wasn't even time for the tent fire. But night has fallen. And everybody would gather for dinner and the tent fire before they would retire, so they were not likely in the wagons when the camp was attacked. What do you continue to do, Fleegan, or respond?
Well, as Quimber yells out and starts running, and I'm going to go over to Brian and see what the symbol he is mentioning, he's talking about, and see if I can peel it from him. The whole time saying, "Brian, you were the one that gave me my first dagger. You said, 'Hey, kid, I don't need this. Don't poke your eye out.' Oh."
As comical as that may seem, it's quite touching. Give me a sleight of hand check. Yes, sleight of hand.
As soon as I figure out where I put my character sheet. Come on. It's loading.
You find it difficult, but you've learned skills with being able to use your hands in various ways, and you're able to find a way to peel his hand back to take that dark silver necklace away. And as you look at it, you flip it over and you see that there are a series of runes on the reverse side.
Runes I can read?
No, runes that you cannot read.
I'll put it in my pocket and keep looking for Vesta or Vezi.
Okay. All right. I saw the note that Theros left. I'll let him get back before I return to him because I would prefer he have the opportunity to respond to that. But Kenna moves farther north. As she mentioned, she was going to be looking for Vestia or signs of the children, and
Mother Sylvansa.
and Mother Sylvansa. That's right, and not too far into the camp, kind of in the middle, you come across Vestia and Skizig, who are both lying together on the ground. Their hands are clasped together in death. You find that Vestia is pierced with a number of arrows. Skizig has a number of axe wounds all over his body. And nearby, you see at least a dozen of the gnolls lying upon the ground, burned and blackened from the magics that the two cast before their deaths. This does not surprise you.
No. Looking at the arrows, do they look like the type of arrows that the gnolls would be using, or do they look a little more refined? Or do I recognize them?
Give me what you would have a better roll for, either an insight check or a history check.
About the
Probably
same.
the same, actually.
Yeah.
Something in wisdom, perception.
Yeah, perception I can do.
Yeah, roll that. Yep, okay. Your history had you thinking that these looked familiar, and so you took a closer look at them.
Mm-hmm.
And you remembered that when you were leaving the burned tower outside of Carnival back near Nevermore,
Yeah.
that you guys had found some black-fletched arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And these
the same
arrows
place I
all
found
are
the
the
Dark
same.
Elf coin?
The same place you found the Dark Elf coin, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you found all of these arrows in these bodies are all black-fletched, just like the arrow that you found in that burned-out tower. Yep. And the two of them, as well as the rest of those that you're finding, have strange purple veins beneath their skin and froth coming from their mouths.
Is there a poison that I know of that might have caused this, or?
You can give me a medicine check. Okay. You don't know of a poison that would cause that.
But it sure seems if all of them are having that it would be something either that they ate, drank, or was coated on the arrows.
As we often have guesses about things that we see in life, that's kind of the epiphany that you're having at this point is that it seems to correlate to what you're seeing, but having no knowledge of this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
You wouldn't know for sure, but that was what your intuition is telling you.
Okay.
Theros, I did see what you wrote, but I wanted to go ahead and have you kind of articulate that, and if you need to make the roll, go for it.
Sure. So, for our audience, I am planning on a wisdom check versus 14. This is to break myself out of this rage. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, deep
Looks
breaths.
like we saved. Theros, after proceeding to not just beat and mutilate and cut up and slice and destroy the first gnoll he ran across after finding his mother deceased, snaps out of it. Perhaps it was the tug of every swing of Graxel that he felt with the Bravda ring. reminding him that he has a duty to the troop. And though just losing his father and now losing his mother, he must do what is right for the troop. And Theros, being who he is, immediately thinks of the youngsters. Must find the youngsters. Theros bellows. Roar! Youngsters! Youngsters! Proceeds to run through the camp on the edge, looking for trails in the snow that would be children-sized. Looking for any of them that may have ran off in the chaos.
All right. You move up this direction and you happen to see Sunacy and Friend, the two old Spencers who've cooked for the troop for as long as you can remember. And they lie beside their burnt wagon, pierced with many wounds. Next to the two women lie the body of a knoll. And you actually smile, somewhat in a macabre fashion, as you notice her cleaver stuck in his forehead, which demonstrates that clearly even Sunacy and Friend accorded themselves as Hanatas, even as they were taken down. And you cast about looking for small footprints in the quickly accumulating snow. And it begins to dawn on you that in no case at this point have you seen sign, other than small items that the children would normally have lying about, any sign of any of the children amongst the many bodies that are lying about.
Will not
Glor, what are you
stop
doing?
Theros.
Well, is there any significance to the fact that Mother's wagon is not on fire on the map? North.
Maybe.
Okay, that's where he's going to go then, because he
Okay.
said maybe somebody could be in there or something, since it doesn't seem to be burning.
Okay.
Is it more
Alright.
intact, at least, whatever's over there?
Okay. As you draw close to the wagon, you notice that it is intact and it is not on fire, as the rest of them are.
Is there any kind of, I don't know, thing that seems logical about that? Like there's no signs of battle around it either? No one seemed to have fought right here?
You see the body of some of these gnolls laying nearby along the way there, but not it doesn't the carnage doesn't seem to be as severe in this location, or as pronounced in this location as there is in other areas.
But before he tries to even go in, then he'll try to go all the way around the wagon looking for
Okay.
any other signs.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have Kenna coming up this direction. She's looking for the youngsters. Fleegan kind of meets her in that direction. Kimber moves off towards the east. And Kimber, you come across Old Strim there. Find this real quick. You see many bodies in this area. Some of the other Hanatas troop members, Dren and Calva, and you can't help but realize that both have just moved from childhood to Frenta. And they both were so proud of their station. But they would not enjoy that anymore, obviously. And you see Oldstrom, the quote-unquote grandfather of the troop, if it had one. And you see Hant and Fendi, and also young Chelsea, the mute illusionist. And their bodies are all lying broken near their burning wagon. And their blood stains the white snow red. How do you respond?
I'm looking for Oldstrom's shovel, and I start just saying things like, "We're wasting our time fighting ogres in the woods for this protector of the forest while our people are being killed and needing to say nothing to us." And I'm just looking through this stuff for Oldstrom's shovel. I'm wanting to pick it up and start hitting these gnoll bodies that are about with it. I'm just angry that we were delayed in such a way when we should have been here. But I am looking around. But my eyes are blurry from all the tears.
Yeah, and in fact, it's cold enough to where they're starting to kind of freeze on your face.
I even make some comments about having Kismia giving her luck to us, and everything seemed like it was perfect, and even Jinx seemed to have a hand in everything, and the gods must have known what was happening while we were gone. And so I'm just kind of yelling. I'm not cursing anybody, but I'm definitely angry.
Yeah. Definitely understandable. I need you to roll me a D100, please.
Wow.
You said D6, right?
You cast about for his shovel, but you're unable to find it. And it's you find that what you're trying to do is hold on to a sense of sanity by finding something familiar and tangible that is a memory of the storyteller of your troop. And you're quickly noticing you're losing your grip on your emotions and unable to find Anton, your spiritual advisor and really your mentor, is causing you such tremendous grief that you I need you to roll a intelligence saving throw, please. I'm sorry, my roll 20 just crashed in the middle of that.
Well, ignore the roll that's there when you get back on. It's probably a glitch. I rolled a natural 20. No. Okay, it's only 14.
Yeah.
I do stop once in a while though to check bodies because it's just in me. I can't pass a body without checking it.
Sure. Okay. All right. Did something real fast here. Okay. You need to take one level of exhaustion from the sheer pressure and weight of this upon your psyche. So one level of exhaustion gives you disadvantage on ability checks.
Is there a spot on the character sheet for it?
I don't think there is.
Not in roll 20, no.
Yeah.
I
I'll
haven't
just
seen
note
it.
it then.
Yeah. And you'll until you rest, you cannot regain that strength. So that's going to be permanent on you for some time until you get a chance to rest. Okay.
Is that a short rest or?
For exhaustion, I believe for one level of exhaustion, it is. Long rest.
Right.
And you have to eat and drink something. All right. Eat a Snickers. You know,
Hmm.
you're not yourself right now, Kimber. All right. Fleegan, you and Kenna meet up near the beast wagon, which is smoldering as the entire top of it has been completely burned off. And just the bottom frame and the wheels are smoking in the snow. And I have to, since Roll20 crashed, I have to open all my windows again.
I haven't seen any sign of my mother.
No, you have not, actually.
Hmm.
Um, all right. All right. And you see Selvra lying near these cages where Miga and Trenuv, the owlbear and the manticore, are kept. She is completely pierced with numerous arrows, and the same telltale purple veins cover her face.
And I think they're poisoned.
The owlbear and the manticore are nowhere to be found.
Maybe the owlbear ate all the gnolls. If not, I want them.
Hmm.
Can I give me and actually both of you, Fleegan and Kenna, give me insight checks.
Not my strong suit. Nor Fleegan's.
Okay. All right. As the others are, Theros, specifically, and are looking for the Yunstas. Kember is moving his way about. You all have moved your Ken and Fleegan had moved towards the beast wagon, and then Gror is very, very specifically inspecting Mother's wagon. You don't find any sign of the Yunstas, nor any of the other Frenta that are your friends outside of the two that had just recently become Frenta that you had found. You also see no sign of the dancing girls and Kenna's mother. And you quickly notice that all the draft horses appear to have been taken as well. But
What of the
Gror
world's finest pony?
Snickerdoodle is missing.
Killer?
Killer is missing. You do not find his body.
About Billy? Nobody mentioned him in the beast wagon.
Yeah. It looks, at least from what you guys can see as you're moving towards where they would keep all of the livestock, which is where they would typically keep Billy with the livestock. All the livestock is missing as well. You don't see the bodies of any of the livestock laying about.
That's good.
We didn't bring Billy this far just to have him become no meat.
We'd have to put him back together again, from a skeleton or something. It'd be awful.
Excuse me.
Hey, no barbarian, skeleton, blood, bone, art in this game, please.
Gror, as you round Mother's wagon, you actually surprisingly come upon her body. She's lying near her wagon, and near the door to her wagon, and the door is wide open, and there's many of her accoutrements that she uses for her seeing and fortune telling and other things lay strewn about the ground. And it seems as if her wagon has been, looted and ransacked. There's an arrow in her hip, but she is not dead. She is breathing heavily. And you see her kind and wrinkled face is covered with dark purple veins. And there's a yellowish froth that marks the edge of her lips. Gror, what do you do?
I yell, "Healers, healers, come quickly!" And I take out the blue fool stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use it to heal one within 30 feet.
Okay.
Which I would assume, include her.
Okay.
If I hear him yell for a healer, I'm sprinting in that direction.
Interestingly enough, even from the crackle of the fire and the wind and stuff, you guys do all hear him yell. So you're welcome to make that way if you so choose. Anybody else doing anything before they would consider heading that direction?
No, I'm running.
I will run along the outside of the wagons, noting of any tracks as I go there.
This is the last heal too. Without rest, recharge long rest. I roll it, or because I'm hurt and everybody else might be too.
Yep. Just a moment on that.
Still.
Yeah, just a moment on that. I need Theros to make a survival check. He wanted to look for tracks or other things around outside. There are various tracks in the snow, both humanoid and these gnoll-anoid.
Annoyed.
Totally annoyed.
But quickly tracks are being completely filled in and obliterated by the heavy snow that's coming down. And they seem to be all over, as you would expect from the obvious attack on the camp and all. And she looks up at Gror as he pulls out the stone and begins to use its ability to see if he can heal those around. You can go ahead and roll your heal. And a slight smile touches her lips. Anybody that needs healing within 30 feet of him, you can get 7 hit points. And she says, she's somewhat breathless. My young friend, thanks be to Jinx. You still live? She kind of blinks and you see her head sway a little bit. And it seems as if the healing power, though, it re-energizes those of you that have been through some significant ordeal over, the last few hours. It seems to take no visual effect upon Mother. And she nods her head. Says, "Thank you, Gror. But it is too late for me, my children. There is nothing that you can do for this." That
Girl will ask her, say, Mother, what happened?
She almost doesn't even recognize what you're saying. She continues on. She says, the poison that courses in my veins is powerful, ancient magic. I do not know, or even think there's a way to stop this. We was attacked. So many. These gnolls, led by the Dunahadrin. We could not. Everyone fought. They fought so bravely, so hard. But we must hurry. We must hurry. My time it is short. Take this key. Go up into my wagon. She kind of coughs, and you see blood and other froth come from her mouth, and it seems as if the veins start to even pulse and get even thicker and more pronounced on her face. She coughs. She takes a long, ragged breath. There's a secret panel under the seat. I only pray they did not find it. What do you do?
Or try to hold her to keep her warm so that the healers can maybe try to her again if they want.
Okay. She reaches up. No, take these, go, get to the box. And she presses the key in your hand. Bring it to me now.
I grab the key and run to her wagon. I've got it.
Okay.
And I sprint over there and try to find the keyhole.
Okay. It'll take you a bit of searching in there. Gror is holding on to Mother. Kember, what are you doing?
I'm fumbling through packs that we have, see what potions that we have, see what scrolls that we have, trying to figure out if protection versus poison will do anything here. I thought we found
anti-venom.
Anti-venom potions.
But if this is poison, not venom, then that won't work.
Oh.
So she also said it was magic too, so it might be like.
Is there something you have you want to try?
I have protection versus poison. I don't know if that gives her another save or something.
Yeah.
I could use that.
You just tell me what you want to do?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that scroll, cast. Revivify brings somebody back that just died, but I don't know.
That won't help the poison if the poison's still in her system, though.
But protection versus poison, I think will give her another save.
So you're going to use that scroll up?
I'll use that one spell on the scroll.
Yeah.
If nobody stops me, of course, I'm going to use it.
All right. So you utilize the writing on the scroll to be able to cast that, and you would be the one who could, being the cleric. But it's very quickly apparent that it seems to do nothing for her. And she gives you a look and a nod and says, I do not think that there is so much as I don't find. She's starting to get delirious. Fleegan, what are you doing?
He goes over and says another. Don't go! Don't go! How can I do this without you? Vessie, where's Vessie?
She seems to become instantly more lucid when that happens, and she raises a very weak hand and she places it upon the top of your head with her palm right on your forehead. And her hand is quite cold. And she holds it there. She says, Fleegan, you can do this. You can. And you will. You see, they took the youngsters and others, but you must understand, you must not follow them. The ones that did this, their power, it is beyond you. You must find help to get the children back. Please don't go on your own. You will only suffer the same fate as we have. Theros, what are you doing at this time?
Mother, where should we find help? Because we will avenge you. We will avenge all of the troop.
There is
We must do this now. We must find whoever can help us. We cannot let them have our people. At this point, Theros is probably stammering.
Sure he is. I need you to make me an intelligence saving throw, please. Now that your rage has faded. Okay. You're stammering and you're in shock. And the weight of what is happening is starting to kind of creep and take hold into your mind and your psyche. But at this point, the adrenaline and the sense of duty and that tug of the spirit through the Bravda ring is allowing you to maintain hold, and you're not reaching a sense of exhaustion just yet. But she responds to your question about where to find help. And she does say there is one who can help you, who is not not far from here. And she reaches up and she snaps a pendant from her neck. It is a flat onyx oval. Show it to you here. It's got a 6-rayed white star inlaid on the top of it. And she grabs your big hand in her small one, and she opens it and she squeezes this pendant into your hand, Theros. You notice her skin is very clammy and cold. And she says, "Take this pendant to Prondidol. Talk to Verasis, who lives in that town."
Can you spell, please?
What?
Can you spell that name, please?
Verasis.
Okie doke. Thank you.
Tell him. Tell him what has befallen us. We must mourn. We must warn the other troops. You must do this thing. Don't try and go after them. I know it's hard, but you will only perish. There is no one else. Your very lives and the lives of all Hanatas depend on this. Yes, even the fate of the world depends on this.
As you say, Mother, it shall be done. We will find this man. We will warn the others. We will get our people back, I swear to you.
She nods, and her eyes begin to close. And her breath is somewhat ragged, but she still lives. As Kenna, you're able to find hidden a keyhole beneath the seat in her wagon that she rides in, and you put the key in the keyhole, and when you turn it, it opens a secret niche, and inside you find an old wooden box.
Okay. I pull the wooden box out and take it directly to Mother. Put it in her hands.
When you put it in her hands, she has, at this point, she has taken her hands away from both Fleegan and Theros, and you place this in her hands, and she lifts her head back up very laboriously, and you see sweat beading from her forehead, and the dark purple veins are just pulsing in her forehead. Most definitely the healing that Gror tried to provide, the help that Kember tried to provide is making no headway at all. And so you place the box in her hand. Gror, while all this was going on, you had initially, used the power of the stone and nothing happened. What have you been doing over this last little bit?
Just holding her, trying to, support her so she could talk to the others too.
Good. Yeah. Perfect.
Everything to make it as easy as it can be.
Yeah. You find that that your efforts to hold her and make her as comfortable as you can and support her are very well received and probably the most appropriate thing you can be doing at this point to help her cling on to the thread of life that she has left. And all right, I need to find something real quick. All right. She opens the box with very shaky hands, and you feel as if she whispers something that must have been some sort of magic lock or something like that on the box, and she's able to open the box. And she opens and shows it to you, and you see a silver medallion inside that you had often seen her wear. And it is known to be both a magic item and a holy symbol. And I'll show that to you now. And as she shows that to you and holds it up, you know that she's offering it to you. And she says, This be magic. It can keep magic within it to use even then you'd need it. The words to use it are by the light of Jinx. What do you do?
Is there a way of knowing if it has any magic in it right now?
Not in this moment.
She was giving it to like the group, right? Not an individual, or was it an individual?
She just opened it up and held it open.
Okay,
And,
so we'll take that as the group.
Yeah, and anybody would be welcome to reach in and take it. Kimber, is that what you do?
I pull everybody close and I kind of tell let's all grab this medallion now and put it against Mother Salvenza and use the words she just told us and see if this medallion can save her.
I'm sure that's not going to happen, Wimber.
If anybody hesitates, I'll try to do it myself.
Gloro put up his free hand, not the one supporting Mother, to like kind of tell Kimber to rest easy. I'll ask Mother who Veracis is. Who's this Veracis and where can we find him?
There's no time. Now, listen. Listen carefully, my friend. The fate of many are in your hands. You must tell Veracis. Some of what she says is hard to understand. She is barely holding on to life. And even the ministrations of Kimber, surprisingly, are having absolutely no effect. It's as if something is completely barring the power of Jinx. Kimber, you have felt this in the past. When Kismet and Jinx are with you and they are radiating their power through you to be able to heal and rejuvenate others, you know. And you know that they are with you at this time, and it's almost as if you feel the sense of deific urgency and divine assistance. Frustrating that nothing is happening.
Even though I know that, I let the others know that I can feel the presence of Kismia and Jinx, and they are with us. They are trying to help. I know they are. I can feel it, and I don't try to let up that it's failing to my friends, my brother and sister around me, and I just keep hope in it. And even though I know it's probably futile at this point, I look at them and I try to give him a look that I haven't lost my mind. I'm still here, and they could probably tell by my eyes that even though I am saying positive things about the gods being there with us, that in my eyes that I truly know that it won't make any difference.
She continues. You must tell Verasis. These who attacked us. The Gnolls. They did not come alone. It was not just the Gnolls. It was the Nahadrin.
I'm assuming that means dark elves, dark elf, or
She continues without even recognizing your question, as if affirming what you were saying without even hearing what you said. The Dark Elves. The ancient enemy of Dehanatas. They be a terrible threat to us all. Flegan, as this is happening, you see within your mind a very fleeting vision of a much younger you and a bit younger mother sitting beside each other on a spring day, and her putting her hand with the palm of it on your forehead. And you even remember that you believe that this had happened at one time, but you recognize that you must have been very, very young at the time. This time her hand's not cold, this time her hand is quite warm. And she closes her eyes and she hums a quiet, soothing tune. And that is the first time that you had ever remembered this encounter with her. But you know that it had happened. But it feels as if you're in that moment again. And a sense of knowledge and understanding of much of the world comes upon you like a flood. So much so that you can't comprehend the images and the thoughts that are flooding into your mind at this time.
I have A lucky forehead.
Blood that got put upon it at times, right?
Yes. As many
Yes.
times as it's been smacked around, it's amazing I have been loved.
Also at this time, Kimber, you feel something tap you on the shoulder.
If I don't recognize it as one of my party that's around me, I'll jump and spin around.
Actually, it's less than a tap and more of a gentle hand upon your shoulder. And you turn and you see a smiling jester in a jester's hat nod to you. And then as quickly as it happens, you turn back to your friends to see if anybody else had seen that. And nobody seems to make any indication that they have, even though some are looking that direction, and you flip your head back around, and the individual is gone. And you feel the power, the deific power that was pushing through the medallion begin to wane at that point.
I'll look at the others like this big, huge shock on my face.
And Kenna,
Mm-hmm.
you're paying very close attention and straining to hear
Mm-hmm.
what Mother is telling everyone and really take it all in. Again, all of these things that I'm describing are all happening within a very short amount of time simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is drawn out obviously, but it's happening, as she's speaking. You all are kind of encountering these things and stuff like that. So you at this point simultaneously.
I forgot. If I forget, Mother is still alive in front of us, so I'll look down at her and give her a very honest, like something just really significant happened. Look at her, and I don't know if she can see my face, and just let her know that Jinx is here. I just saw Jinx.
Did you want it in a cup over ice?
Thank you for that. Kenna,
Mm-hmm.
a overwhelming sense of grief and loss assails you immediately, just out of the blue. It actually makes you drop to one knee, the weight of it all. It's, for whatever reason, this emotion is just picked this time to just hit you full force. Your mother has gone. Your father obviously is dead. You have no idea what the mysteries of your family are. You never could get that out of your father, and you were sure you were going to be able to very soon.
Mentally, I'm cursing Jinx for taking him before I could learn whatever it was he was wanting to tell me.
Yeah. I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, please. Okay. It takes you to your knees. But then you remember that there has been no sign of your mother's body anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And perchance, a glimmer of hope is that she still lives. And you take that nugget of hope, that little morsel of opportunity to still know and learn and have a goal to shoot for of hope. And you push that deep down inside, and it helps you hold on to your sanity for just a little while longer. And yes, as your vision faded, you feel as if, and not, I'm switching back to Kimber. I'm sorry. Yes, Kimber. I was reading the chat. As your vision faded, your the sense of power from the medallion faded as such.
All right.
So, with all of this going on, all at the same time, Mother continues. And she says, and her voice is very labored now. And you all have to lean in to listen. And you see a tear well up, and so much tear wells up that it drips from her eye, and another runs down her cheek. My children, I can barely tell you these. Dark elves. They were aided by one of our own.
Ooh.
And I know who it was. It was Zanny. Zanny is the traitor. And she looks up at Theros and looks deep into your eyes. And you see the kind eyes of the grandmother of your troop. I am so sorry. I saw him slay our dear Kalnassi with my own eyes. She lets out a very deep, deep sigh at this point. Theros, how do you react?
I'll just look straight back at her and I will witness his death by my own eyes.
She puts her head down. She shakes. And her whole body begins to tremor and shiver and grow. As you're holding her, you feel her body grow cold. And she coughs. She sputters. And you see blood with the froth from her mouth really start to foam and run down her cheek. But more, even more than this, I fear something else. Something that has been in my sight. And she turns her gaze to Fleegan. And she nods. And Fleegan, you know what she means when she nods. You know that she means that you know this too. She
It will
continues,
be done.
something that has been in our sight. Something most terrible. The Ting is seeking to return. Yes, the Ting that is seeking to return is the one of dread. And you almost can't make out what she says. But she says one word that sends both a simultaneous chill up your spine. The hair on your arms begins to stand on end, and you feel bile welling up in your throat. As she says the word Flemmerich. And with a cough and a last look of love on her face, she is gone. Gror, you're holding the deceased and limp body of Mother Salvenza in your arms at this moment. Tell me, what do you do?
He'll hug her one last time and then gently lay her down on the ground.
Okay. There, for much of the time that you were speaking with Mother, the snow seemed to have slowed and was not falling near as hard as it had been. But it kind of starts to pick back up at this point. Pretty heavily, big, thick flakes. And you can tell that the night is going to be cold and quite dark and stormy. And you see large flakes, even in just the few seconds from the time that you lay her on the ground and you stand up and you all stare looking at the lifeless body of the one that you love laying on the ground in these large flakes of snow. Quickly, within seconds, begin to start to accumulate upon her, upon your shoulders and your heads. Feel the cold, the wind and the cold of the snow on your shoulders. What do you all do?
Theros
Well,
goes
we-
into immediate dominant mode. It's time for action.
Hmm.
We need to gather up all of our people, and we need to give them a proper burial. Then we've got to head out. We don't have much time to waste. Our people are out there, and if this person can help us get them back, we need to get to him as fast as possible.
I agree. Casey, is cremation normally what the Hanatas do, or is it burial?
It depends on the circumstance, and in this case, with it being winter, the ground being frozen, a lot of snow that would have to be dug
Cremation.
up and things like that, cremation would be the more expedient course of proper rest.
Let's move as many of the wagons that are still burnable together. We can make a pyre for them. It will be the fastest way.
Agreed.
You guys, unless anybody else objects, I would say that the logic of that idea even though there's a morbidity to it, seems most appropriate simply because of how cold and how quickly the temperature is dropping, that it would allow you to be able to accomplish this task quickly and effectively before the night gets too far deep and you have to take shelter from the storm. And there's 2 remaining wagons, the one that's got the broken wheels that were the bard's wagon, and then Mother Salvence's wagon, which seems to be intact. It was just ransacked. And you guys are going to have to seek shelter in those because you can tell that very quickly, like within the hour, the storm is going to become
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, just a squall.
So it'd be best if we gather up what we can to make a funeral pyre. And can we all stay in one of the wagons, or do we have to use both for all of us? What I'm getting
It
at,
would.
could we use the bards as a funeral pyre and use Mother Savence's as shelter?
Yeah, all of you could utilize it. It would be tight, but all of you could find a way, and it's actually probably not a bad idea because it would help keep you all warm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as a side note, just to let you know, I am going to cut off the arm of one of the gnolls. I'm going to skin off the emblem, the tattoo or whatever it is.
Brand.
The brand, yeah.
The brand. And I'll open up the skull and tan it with its brain. Then proceed to make a medallion out of it.
Okay, for clarity, Janig was not the traitor, it was Zanny.
Okay. Zanny. Got it.
Zanny is, do you remember when you guys were in Anton's tent and Columbina and Zanny, he was, those were a couple of the jesters for the troupe.
Yep.
The funny people were miming about the loss of the candles and the things like that.
Yeah.
Zanny was yeah, that's who Zanny is.
He's one of the performers. Yeah.
One of the performers, yeah.
One of the jesters. Yep.
So sorry about that. I kind of have a snotty nose, so.
No, it's,
Your mother was dying
hear
in
it
front
well.
of you, trying to tell you these things. So.
Yeah. So
With
we
the
piece
running
that
nose.
together later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start respectfully gathering the bodies together and putting them into a pyre for.
Hell you.
Beautiful.
So, side question.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Fleegan would also, once the bodies are starting to cremate, see what's salvageable from any of the other locations, like swords, weapons, cloaks, daggers.
Yeah.
boots.
Money.
Yeah.
Money, because we're going to need it. And I also assume that the wonderful and glorious humble blunder thrower is probably long gone since nobody's there, since it was left back at the camp.
Yeah.
was
What I will have to say is that, you know, the camp has been ransacked. Most stuff lying about is broken. A lot of stuff is somewhat, if not completely, buried in the snow that has already fallen or burned. And it's scattered about all over the clearing, which is rather large. The storm that is coming in is quite severe, and you all quickly realize that logistically, it's about all you can do to gather up the bodies and try and get this pyre going and find shelter before you're essentially caught in the squall yourself.
Yeah.
So the ability to kind of try and search for anything is, I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm going to have to start having you
We-
make rules on whether or not you survive just
And
from
we would serve the
elemental
troop.
exposure. What's
We
that?
would serve the troop. We would serve the troop better to actually take care of them over looking for anything that might even be useful. We've got a huge bag of coin that we got from the ogres, so money is not a problem.
I do want to point out that we need to keep track of everybody that's here that's dead, so that we know
Yeah.
who we didn't find.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Kenna will make a list of everyone all of the bodies that we know that are here.
Okay. If I
And
forget,
then
before I
omit.
forget, let me
Mhm.
list those off for you, okay?
Yeah.
El Nasi. Grunta and Bread. Stoof and Lena. Heverin, Friasha, and Cladsby. I like that, Fleegan.
Agreed.
Grayson and Grelda. Brian. Cray. Vestia and Skizig. Selfra. Sunacy and Fren. Dren. And Calva. Old Strem. Hance. Bendy. And Chelsea. I think that's all of them.
Casey, if you get a chance later, can you make a list of all of the ones that we're missing then?
Sure. Yeah. I'll have
That'd
to
be great.
go back. I'll have to go back into the materials and
Sure.
look that
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Yeah. Don't expect it like right now. So.
I counted 23. And
Pop
I got
quiz.
their names, although probably
Who's
not
remaining?
spelled right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 23 is what I counted too.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys. So what I hear is you're gonna basically try and drag the bodies to the broken the bard's wagon, and drag the bodies there and make a pyre at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
With all the smoke
All right.
already, they probably won't notice that there's any more smoke.
Yeah. Well, you're able to do as such, and the activity that it takes to make this happen, and the heat of the pyre as it begins to grow larger and more intense, plus the adrenaline coursing through your veins is keeping you moving through the increasingly thick and dangerous storm, almost as such to where you have to go 2 by 2, holding on to each other and finding ways to make sure that you can find your way back to the pyre and the glow from it, just because it's so hard to see with the blizzard as it rages about you.
Or
Much-
asks if we can like Stoof and Lena together at the same time. Doesn't care about the orb. Just
do we- yeah,
together.
we're- Yeah, they're all going to be together. We're doing it as one pyre, so. But yes, we will lay them next to one another.
A pile.
Pyre.
So then we'd have it going and having to put them onto it.
No, we put
We're
them all
gonna-
in the wagon and then
And then
We are
Pile it.
piling it then. Okay.
yeah, and then light the wagon. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys through the process of this exercise are very respectful, and you do as best you can to be able to lay them not piled on top of each other, but laying in what would be considered a dignified and, as much as possible considering the circumstances, manner, side by side, close to one another to put them to rest.
Did
Keep into
you
any
say-
Hanatah's rituals for burying our dead?
I think that you would have learned some rituals and other prayers that would be said appropriate to Hanatah's burial. What was that, Fliegen?
Did you say the great, what was it, Gatsby?
Mm-hmm.
Was he one of the ones that was missing?
Yes. Did that not get on the list?
I just don't remember you mentioning him. He did.
I got Gatsby as one of the dead, I thought.
Yeah, Clasby. He's one of the dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
It's definitely on the list.
when we get him ready, we'll slip. I'll slip a gold in his pocket as a farewell.
All right, noted.
Quimber, now that you are our spiritual leader of the troop, would you please say a few words?
Kimber pauses longer than should be with the blizzard raging and fire going, and starts naming off all the fallen that we know are here, and praises their lives a little bit individually, probably taking longer than we should out here in the cold, and thanking Jinx and Kismia and some of the other gods that we probably worship, and ask them to ready a place for them and take care of them where they have gone now, and close it out with some more appropriate ritualistic words at the end to make it official.
Thank you.
As a side note, Casey, we still have those horses, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you have
Well,
your
we did-
horses that you found.
Those horses we found, so we'll have to figure out some sort of shelter for them as well.
Yeah. I will say that you're able to find a way to be able to. They already had some of their blankets and some other stuff like that, and you're able to tear off some of the sideboards of the one wagon and kind of make almost a makeshift lean-to off of the side of the mother's wagon for them to have some covering from the snow.
If we use the horses, we might be able to pull the other wagon and put them side by side and have at least a little bit of area walled off on both sides from whatever direction the wind's mainly coming from.
Since we used the bard's wagon as the part of the pyre, we only have mother's wagon, so the rest of them are all burned.
But yeah, you're able to put that together, and that's appropriate. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other lamentations or comments or offerings before we move on from the funeral?
Just a
There
little
was-
asking of the gods to help us get revenge on their enemies and ours.
Theros is a man of few words. He will continue to be that way.
Okay.
Kenna is uncharacteristically quiet.
Trauma. This episode is sponsored by the word trauma.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you all finish the funeral. Make sure that the horses are well protected as much as possible from the storm. Gather yourselves into the wagon. Are able to find a way to situate yourselves so that you all can sit. I wouldn't say comfortably because it's not even in your mind right now to be comfortable.
Kenna does hand out some rations and tells everyone, eat. I don't care what you're feeling right now, eat. She starts becoming motherly.
All 5 of you sit in this wagon. And for a very long time, for many more moments, maybe even hours, than you can remember, no one says a word, and you just stare. And then exhaustion begins to overtake all of you from the events of the day into the night. The adrenaline begins to wear. And one by one, without you even knowing or fighting the sensation, you all drift off into a very deep, surprisingly restful sleep.
I've written 2.5 pages on this session already.
Our scribe.
It's a big one. All right. So hold on just a moment. You all very surprisingly at about the same time begin to stir and awake the next morning. It is chillingly cold, and there is a bright, bright sunrise shining through the panes of glass, stained glass in Mother's wagon. And it's abundantly clear that the storm has passed as it's quiet. There are no birds singing. It is eerily quiet outside. You're all stiff and sore from the events of the day before, but you're rested. What do you do as you wake up?
I see the whole situation as, Gror snaps awake, his feet come out from under Quimber's head, his head hits the floor, his feet go out. Flegans hits the floor, Flegans' feet go out, Kenna hits the floor, all the way around in a circle. Kenna's
Oh,
going to get up.
awake.
Yeah. About the same
All right.
time, yeah.
That's how we all woke up at the same time, Casey.
Yeah.
Well, I can envision that in my mind, and I think it makes for a wonderful turn of the mood of the episode, and I could see that coming to life on screen. So thank you for that image.
Yeah.
I like it.
So then Kenna's going to get out and she's going to start stretching.
Okay.
Just, work out some of the tension. Then she's going to start thinking about breakfast and whether we can get this wagon onto the road or not with the horses.
Yeah. You get up and you open up the door to look outside, and for sure the storm has passed. Nothing moves in the wood about the area. The entire glade is covered in nearly a foot of snow, and even drifts in some areas are quite deeper than that. You look. It's gonna be difficult for you to get through the snow, Fleegan, and Gror's strong enough he can push himself through the snow, but it's gonna be a struggle for you
I'll
guys
just
to move.
tie a rope around his waist and hop on a board and keep him sliding along.
As you look about the camp, all is covered in a blanket of white. The sky is a cobalt blue as the sun rises. You see the burnt out embers of sticks of what's left of the wagons that the snow has put out. The fires and the pyre that you had set the night before has left a layer of ash on the ground, and even that, over the night into the early morning, has been covered in a beautiful, smooth, sparkling blanket of gorgeous snow. And you feel a sense of relief and calm that your loved ones are all at rest in a beautiful place. Even now, you cannot believe that such a thing as this has happened. Tears burn your eyes as you ponder what you will do next. But as you kind of stir about and start stretching and getting some food and kind of brushing your hair and doing your morning ablutions, Kimber, are you back?
Yes.
Okay. You seem somewhat drawn to the box that you had pulled out of Mother's wagon the night before that had the medallion in it. And it, as often happens in our minds when we wake up in the morning, things that we don't think about throughout the day just seem to come to mind. And you remember there were other things inside that box. And you couldn't help yourself but reach over and grab the box that was sitting on one of the shelves in her wagon, and you open it up, and inside you begin to pull out some things, and you notice that inside the box there is a healing potion.
Wow.
There is a Sirius's scroll with a number of spells on it. Something that she had used many times, even to great benefit to you all and to the troop. Her stone of sight. Softball-sized, smooth blue stone ball that can only be used by a Hanatah Sirius. And then inside the box is a smaller wooden box containing something that again is an artifact of your troop and of Mother. And that is her Sirius's deck of cards. And then also in the box is a fancy bronze inlaid scroll tube. A small pouch that has something feels hard and rather small inside this pouch. And a number of little coins. And as you open the pouch and dump the coins out into your hand, I'll link in here how many coins you find. You also find that comes out of the pouch into the palm of your hand a very beautiful, flawless diamond.
That took care of any of our cash flow problems.
Yeah.
The diamond, Kember would know, would be used in a ritual resurrection spell, if ever needed.
Oh, wow. I can't cast that, though.
No.
I totally forgot about Revivify, too, but I don't think it would have worked.
Mm-mm. Magical poisons like that are really, really hard to deal with.
Probably bring her back and she'd die again.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, don't wanna
and you
put her
also
through that.
realize that there's a bigger problem. It's called a plot hook.
It's called
I don't
Do Not Overcome the DM.
Everyone be quiet. This is sacred box text.
Now, I remember there were things that we got on our travels that we had actually given to Mother Salvinsa. I don't remember. Did we keep the jester hat that we got
No.
that one time?
No,
We gave that
sh-
over, and I think we gave
yeah.
over the stone, too, that we found.
Yeah, we gave over everything that we
Water
didn't have on us.
Yeah.
Everything that we didn't have on us is not on the list of loot that we have. Like the things we found in the ogre cave, obviously we still have those.
So,
You know, maybe it was the jester's hat. Maybe it was actually cursed, and because they gave it to Zanny, and Zanny actually went crazy.
Oh, my brother.
Just feeling it out there.
That's what
No.
people do when they lose someone. They blame themselves. It is not our fault that these evil beings came and killed our family. They have been hunting us for a long ways now. I understand what you're saying. My character, though, goes that direction with it.
So Casey, I know these are riding horses, not draft horses. But Do we think we can at least salvage Mother Savenza's wagon with them and be able to pull that along the road?
Yes.
We can do the husbandry on them.
Yes.
Yeah, and to help get the wagon onto the road, I can use prestidigitation to remove like a cubic foot of snow from in front of it. Like it's a cantrip, so cast, make a path.
I have a question. Is there any way to tell from Mother's cards and stuff like that of what portent she may have last looked at?
Not being a seeress, you would have no idea how to read those cards at all.
Well, I just noticed the picture had death. Like maybe she actually saw this coming before it happened.
There's death on the top? Let me see that.
Well, I don't know. It was in the picture. That's why I was asking Casey if it was on top or anything.
What you see in the picture is when you open it up, that's the card that you see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I showed the others.
Well, let me see that. That's kind of neat.
I'm the closest
That's
thing
a
we have to a
question
seeress,
for
and I'm
Kimber.
definitely not a seeress.
Kimber's
I'll be
power
getting
with
the
stealth
wagon ready.
help follow other people too, or detect tracks too? That Kimber can do?
Detect
It will-
tracks?
Tracks,
No,
yeah.
I think he's talking about what is that? Pass without a trace.
Yeah.
You make it detect trace instead?
No, it's not reversible.
It's reversible. It's not like a reversible jacket.
Darn it.
That make me feel more inadequate.
So when I grab the death card, does it do anything?
No, you make a great jacket, just not a reversible one.
I got one other plan too. Like when we all have to go take our morning constitutionals, we fan out along the glade in different tree areas to perhaps, scare away the animals later. Maybe we see like any, lower a path that was taken through those woods or out of this place, or can we tell that the road was taken because of the snow? I mean, there should be some kind of track.
It would have all been covered by the
Taking-
storm.
Taking that many people, though.
You do realize that this snow is at almost a third of my height. No, I'm not going to go walk out there. Just
So-
Sure, you could walk on
or
top of the
stairway
snow.
animals.
No, I
And then-
figured it out. We have one of us walk Fleegan like wheelbarrow style, and while his head's in the snow, maybe he'll come across the pockets left by the tracks deep in the snow.
I think that's a good idea, but I do think that he probably won't sink into the snow even.
So the first question from Fleegan is, when you grab the card, you don't feel anything, but you do have a sense of familiarity with the cards. So the question from Gror about going out and kind of looking for a trail or some sort of sign of the direction that anyone would have gone. Most of what others have said, there's at least a foot, if not more, of snow everywhere, and the wind and the squall has pretty much eliminated any ability to track anything, including any trails or anything on the road. I mean, it's just everything is just buried in a huge thick layer of snow. So unfortunately, that's not going to do you any good. The scroll tube doesn't have a lid on it, and it looks like there's a scroll inside it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Okay. All right. You pull it out, and your eyes get somewhat large as you recognize quickly that this is a letter from one Verasus.
We're
And I
supposed to seek. Yep.
Yeah, I will go ahead and read that to you for the sake of anybody watching. Dearest Salvensa, I hope the courier that I charged with getting you this letter is able to locate your troop. If you are reading this, then he has. Last I heard, the Blue Veil was near Beavenshire and heading toward Nevermore. I am hoping that means you are coming to Prondadal, and it would be most wonderful to see you and your kin. But that is not why I am writing you. The Year of Fears is coming in just a matter of weeks. And we all know this. And the sight, I am sure, has told you the same as it has told me. That much danger is coming, and soon. What I am unsure about, however, is the vision I continue to have showing the blue veil in the clasp of a great hand, talon-like, with sharp, black nails and hideous, rotting flesh. And the sight of a burning, odious green flame. No matter how I try, I cannot sponge it from my mind. I fear for the Blue Veil. I would beseech you to come to Prondadal and winter here near me. Perhaps together we can determine what this vision means. And in the meantime, be most cautious. The portents are dark. Fondly, Verasus.
I quickly take it to the others since we're not sure where to get help at this moment, and suggest that this may be one of the things that Mother wanted us to find.
Definitely. That is definitely who we need to seek.
All right. What do you guys do?
Start getting the wagon rolling.
Yep. We've got food, we've got water, we've got
Wood.
firewood, we've got the horses, and we've got gold enough
And since
to.
it's a new day, all you that have magic items that recharge daily should roll for those.
Well, I think since the horses are more important than Theros and Gror, we should have them pull the wagons, and we take really good care of our horses.
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that idea, and
Well, I would do
I will,
it, but I'm not strong enough.
I think we can
Dude,
probably
you
use-
wrestled an ogre
Okay.
single-handed. Don't tell me you're not strong enough.
we should probably use one or two of the horses to pull the wagon, and then use the others as outriders so that we can keep an eye on what's ahead and what's behind on the road. And we should make haste to prawn it all as quickly as possible.
I'll
No
take
more.
the wagon. I'll you know what I mean. I'll take the
Mhm.
wagon.
Yep.
Horses don't like me riding them anyway. I'm too big.
Yeah.
You're going to carry the wagon? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to take it with you?
Take it.
Um,
I'll be the driver of the wagon.
yeah.
That's
a
what it is.
couple of things that happen based on the discussions that you guys were having right now, that are important to mention is, you see that again what hadn't been ransacked had probably been burned. The stuff that was laying is probably buried in the snow, but you do see bits and pieces of various things sticking up out of the snow. Potential items from the troop. And as you're moving about the glade, gathering the horses and checking things out, I know Gror was really wanting to look around and see if there was any sort of trail anywhere, and he's doing that. You see, as if a miracle, into the glade walk two of the Draysdales that pull the wagons. It's Gruff and Salty, two of the troop's larger draft horses. And they look about as if they're lost and uncertain. So you guys actually have two of your horses
For the wagon.
for
Awesome.
the wagon.
Fantastic.
So does that leave us
Four of you can
6
be
or 5?
outriders.
So it's your.
Be outriders, and I can drive the wagon.
So you have 4 of the horses that you found in the forest, the nice ones that aren't really pack horses, they're riding horses. And then you have 2 of the horses, the big horses that can pull the wagon from the truth.
Clydesdales.
We should
Yeah.
team those instead of, obviously.
They're hungry. They kind of nicker at you and bump up against you, and you can tell that they need food and water, and you have enough
Yeah.
to be able to give to them. You happen to find a intact oat barrel in the back of Mother's wagon that you can use to be able to feed them some oats. It's for some protein energy. You do that. I want everybody to roll a d20 for me.
So we need 1 driving the wagon and 4 on horses.
On horse.
I'll drive the wagon.
I'll ride with you on the wagon, too. Take out the multi-barreled crossbow for that.
You had that on you?
I mean, I assume so. It's on my sheet.
Okay. I didn't know if that was one of the items that you guys kept or not, because anything that you would have given to the trooper, the troop would have had, other than what I talk about here shortly, is gone. Okay. Theros, as you're preparing things, you happen to notice in the snow one of Mavia's blue veils. It is wet and stained and dirty. But she used the veil to dance the veils, to perform the dance of veils for the crowds, and it's something that you remember quite fondly as a young, strapping teenager, and her being that beautiful, absolutely beautiful half-elf spell dancer. It just brings some arousing thoughts to mind. We'll just leave it at that.
I will gather that up.
Kenna, you see a vial sitting on the ground nearby where the pyre was, and the heat of the pyre had actually kept the snow at bay enough to where you see a vial of liquid laying on the ground, and it looks to be a half-used healing potion. So it'll heal 1d4 plus 2.
Okay, making a note.
Okay. Kimber.
We heal from that rest, too?
Yeah, I thank you for reminding me. I meant to keep saying that or whatever. That was considered a long rest. So
exhaustion's
the
gone.
benefits.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the benefits that you would get from a long rest you got last night.
What is that? How many
You get all
healing-
of your hit points back. You get all of your spell points back. Any exhaustion has been cleared. anything that you would do. Flagon had mentioned if you have recharge on spells and items.
Yeah.
You know,
Brookstone had that.
Kember would probably do his morning prayers. Kenna would probably study what she needs to study. That kind of stuff. All right, so Kember, roll again for me, please. Fleegan.
I got a 3.
Fleegan, you find something, and I want you to tell me how you think Fleegan would emotionally respond to pulling a locket on a chain out of the snow that belonged to Kenna's mother and has a picture of Kenna inside it.
Well, given that Kenna has yelled at me, but has also kissed my boo-boos, he quickly palms it and says, Kenna, come here.
Okay.
And as she
Kenna-
comes, he slides it into her hand and walks away.
Kenna, what do you do when you instantly recognize what he handed you?
She's going to step out of the camp, the area for just a moment into the trees. She's going to lean up against one tree, and she's just going to clutch it to her chest and sob for probably half an hour until somebody walks too close, and then she'll pretend she wasn't and, try to dry her face and look like she's stable.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Gror, as you're searching about trying to find a trail of anyone leaving, and just unable to find any sign of movement as everything is just buried in the snow and quite frustrating, you actually see a bit of shimmering silver fabric poking up through the snow, kind of glinting in the sunlight.
From Billy's fancy sweater.
Oh, you would wish that's what you were hoping, for sure. But instead, you pull from the snow Vestia's shimmering silver dress that she used to wear when she was performing. And though it's torn and dirty and stepped upon, given the feelings and the desire that you had for Vestia, it's still somewhat of a comfort to know that you would have a memento of that, even though you were hoping that it was Billy's sweater as well.
And Gror's desires for Vestia were just like the same as almost every other female, right?
Yeah, but you had spent your entire life with her, so there was a strange sense of connection with her than you would feel for other strangers that you have met, hoping she was the one that you had always kind of hoped would eventually come around, knowing that you felt that there was a soft place in her heart for you. You just knew if you just found the right words or the right opportunity, it just might work out.
I don't know if Gro's quite that deep. I think he just thought she dug it when he took his shirt off.
Well, he is your character, so I'll let you embellish that, and I'll stop trying to put words in your mouth.
I think I should show everybody else it too, after I have that little winsome moment.
Yeah. Oh, and buried underneath, you find Billy's sweater.
Seriously?
Because I have to leave that for you. Yeah, seriously, because I liked that, and I think that fits really well. So
How does Billy's sweater get off, though, is my question.
I don't know.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah, check for blood.
Is it cut? Is it...
Yes, it's torn. That was nutty.
Billy took it off to show Vestia his bare chest.
Been working on that trick. We were going to do that. I was going to take him to pick up chicks, and we were going to both take off our sweaters.
Yep.
Wait, is there blood on it, or, like, does he look injured from it?
There's no blood on it, no.
Okay. All right, so I will take both of these items and then first tell everybody about Billy's sweater.
Kember, you find little Vesi's rocking horse, but unfortunately you pull a piece out of it, feeling a sense of reassurance that there is still hope that you can recover the young ones, and that you can return the rocking horse that she so loved to her. But as you pull it out of the snow, you find that it's only half of the rocking horse, and the broken other portion of it is stuck frozen to the ground deep in the snow.
We have a fire going anywhere?
Yeah.
If I have the time, I'll try to get it out. Take it with us.
Okay. All right. So, as I understand, do I understand it right that you all are kind of gathering up the wagons, hooking up the draft horses to the or gathering up the horses, hooking up the draft horses to the wagon and getting ready to head where? Where are you guys going? What's your plan?
Pronadol.
Yeah, we have to go to Pronadol where he hired the courier.
Okay.
That's where Mother said Veracis is, so
Okay. Is that everybody's consensus? No
It's definitely.
Yep.
Get there as
descent
quickly as
go.
possible.
Okay.
There is no plan B.
Okay. All right.
well, yeah. There's a plan B. It's the same as plan A. So
Shall we have a no? We're not going to interrupt the gameplay. Shall we have a conversation about agency? Do we go back to Nevermore? Do we try and go find these things? Do we go to Pronadol? It sounds like you're going to Pronadol, so perfect. All right.
if our troop was destroyed by them, I know that we cannot do anything to them. So we need help.
Wise choice, Grasshopper. All right. Hey.
You get them all into Jinx's shrine and let him take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Right on in there.
you guys are packing things up, and you are just getting to the point to where the wagon is ready to roll out, and those who are riding the horses mount up on the horses, and you kind of take a last look around at the remnants of the glade, feeling confident that even that sparkling layer of snow over the burial pyre, the funeral pyre, sorry, is laying. You take a moment to quietly stare at that and say your last words of farewell. Does anybody wish to say anything at this point? You don't have to.
Nope. I will simply pull the wagon up and stop by the funeral pyre and stare.
I say a lot of stuff, but one thing I add in there to my normal prayers and hopes and dreams and wishes and even vengeful words, I add that we've died here also with you, and we are now going to be reborn and shall make you proud and find justice for what has happened.
Beautiful.
Or says, "Goodbye, mother and father. I will see you in the house of the seven lords."
Huzzah.
While they're doing this, we'll ride forward a little bit towards the road and start keeping an eye out, scouting. Pretty much what her father would have done.
Okay. Again, because of the heavy layer of snow, it's quiet. The animals of the forest have taken shelter and are not really emerging as of yet. But even such, after you say your words and do your things, and just take a moment for silence, the whole land around you is very quiet. And it seems as if just at the right time it's time to get on the road and make your way slowly towards Pronadal, as you know it's going to be. It's going to be a cold, hard trek trying to get the wagon through the snow. Kenna, you actually hear the sound of crunching snow and nickering horses and the jingle of tack along the road coming from Pronadal.
Coming towards us from the...
Coming towards you, yeah.
Okay.
And
Right.
as you look up to see what's going on, what's that?
I was going to say I'll ride forward a little bit to try to see what's coming.
Yeah. You don't even really have to ride forward, just
Okay.
kind of around the bend along the road there. Pulling through the snow, you see a coach pulled by 6 huge black Drysdales, accompanied by 10 guards on horseback, approaching along the road. I'm sorry, they were coming from the southwest. They were actually coming from the opposite direction, not Pronadal.
Heading towards Pronadal?
Heading towards Pronadal.
Same direction we're going. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The coach cuts through the foot-deep snow as if it was not even there. The guards are all of approximately the size of humanoids, but you cannot tell who they are or what they are, as they are fully covered in what appears to be Sarek iron plate mail with full helm. So highly armored, very pricey, expensive armor. And they carry shield and lance, and the horses are fully barded. Their crossbows are strapped to the sides of their saddles. The driver of the coach is a male human with a well-trimmed beard, and he wears leather armor, as does the coach guard sitting next to him. And the coach guard holds a crossbow and is clean-shaven. He seems to be no more than 30 years old and is a human, and though The capability of the group is clearly readied for conflict. They do not appear as if they wish to attack your group.
Well, we appear as if we don't want to attack them either.
You think?
And
Where
we'll
hides
let
the
them
double
actually,
crossbow?
and we will actually let them lead the way past us so that we can follow in the trail that they're cutting.
That's not a bad idea. I love what Gror said. He hides his double crossbow. He just
Yep.
kind of
Just
slides it
covers
out
a
of you.
blanket over it.
Their lances remain in raised positions, and the coach guard keeps his crossbow down. As they continue up the road in your direction, you hear the coachman hail you. He says, "Greetings, Hanataz. My masters would entreat with you. Please know that we bear you no ill will, and indeed have information that you will likely find of value."
Look
Since
back
nobody
at
else is talking.
look back at Theros like this is you.
The coachman pulls the coach to a stop, and the warriors will stop as well, maintaining positions around the coach in a defensive formation, but not in a threatening formation.
Very good, good sir.
He nods to you, and
We are-
then go ahead.
I was gonna say we are in dire need of information, and I'll make sure that he can see the Bravda ring.
He glances at the ring and nods to you, and then seems to lean back and say something that is hard for you to make out or hear into the coach, and almost immediately the door to the coach opens, and a rather huge bluish-skinned warrior with a very large beard steps down from the coach. You know this as one of the Garoond race. He's one of the mountain folk.
What a Garoon. What an ultra Garoon.
Wah, wah, wah. He's blue, not that other color. He is nearly 9 feet in height and very broad of shoulder. He makes Theros look small. He has wary
That's no
eyes.
easy task.
He has wary eyes and an air of fearless confidence that is apparent in his stance. And the enormous fighter looks about the area for any threat. But his greatsword is scabbarded at his back, and he nods at your group in a deep, resonant voice. He addresses you. Let me show you a picture of him.
I lean towards Theros and say, "They called us Hanataz. They did not call us."
Yeah.
I am Bonder Strack. Sorry, sometimes I can't even say my own name. I am Bonder Strack of the Varuna clan. I greet you in the name of the Garundish people and of those I serve. I give you my word as a follower of the Lord of Stone, Grambaer, and by the life song given me by the Lady Rhythema, that no harm shall come to you unless you choose to bring it on yourselves. Those I serve would treat with you. Would you do so in peace? You will likely learn things of great value to you and your kin, which, as you would say just now, you are looking for information. What say you?
We do not seek to harm those who do not seek to harm us.
Nah, He chuckles in a very melodious laugh. It's very pleasing to the ears, as if it's almost in song. And he smiles. You, sir, do credit to your troop. It is no wonder that you carry the mark of the Bravda. Well met, my Hanataz friend. We are not your enemies, Hanataz. And indeed, we are likely your allies. We bring you news of great import, my friends. We bring you news of your missing kin. And with all due respect, what have you to fear? If we wanted you dead,
We'd already be.
you would be so already.
So-
All right. So, what are you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I was just going to, put the brake on the wagon and hop down, and I assume that he's wanting us to come into the wagon that is being pulled. Is that what he's looking to do, or?
Oh no.
Just they have a coach.
Yeah, they have a coach, and he came
Yeah,
out of the
right.
coach and addressed you from the ground,
Right.
but his gesture is in such a way to where he would like, his superiors, who ostensibly are inside the coach, would like to entreat with you, but he's politely, addressing you to see if
Enter
you're
the
willing.
coach.
What's that?
Right, to enter the coach, right?
Not to enter the coach, just to have a meeting there.
Oh, absolutely.
A non-aggressive encounter, as it were.
There's no known association between Garoons and Dark Elves anyway, right? I mean, we would have no.
There's no known association that you know of. The Garoond tend to be, while mountain folk, and somewhat they're very clan-ish, and they tend to stick with their own people. They're not outcasts by any means, but they're so big, just by their sheer size, they're feared. So they're not as commonly seen in places other than the largest cities of the world, outside of their clan moots up in the mountains where they're from, if that makes sense. So to see one such as this that seems to be so well bred and noble is rather odd. As if it's an emissary. It's strikingly odd to you. It's uncharacteristic, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Basically, he's just like the fancy, really powerful 18-wheeler of the mountain folk, whereas
Apparently.
Glor is like the Italian sports car. No.
Ice road trucker, I don't know.
Nonetheless, Theros will disarm himself, so leave the weapon behind, put the brake on the wagon, hop down, and give a bow to. I forgot his name already. We will meet with
Bondur.
your.
Bondur.
We will meet with your. It's late.
Superiors. Yeah. Oh, I know.
Superiors.
Superiors. Yeah. He nods. Well, choice well made, friend. And he snaps his fingers, and the coach door, which was already open, moves, and you see the coach move a little bit. And behind the Garoond warrior, two more individuals depart the coach, stepping down one after the other. They are both perhaps 6 feet or so in height, but it is a bit difficult to tell as they are both cloaked and hooded, and from your vantage you cannot see their faces. The pair, they move gracefully to stand behind the warrior. Their hoods remain down, keeping their visages covered. One carries a stave of dark wood, while the other is armed with what appears to be a blade of a strange dark metal that shimmers with magical energy. The one with the stave addresses you. I am Aegis de Arche, and my associate is Shadrick de Gar. You have already met the Bondur. Tell us your names, if you will. And he looks at each of you.
If everyone hasn't already gathered around, I'll gesture for everyone to gather around.
Yeah, we look like a bunch of people that just buried half of our family the day before, probably.
You
You're
don't look
covered in troll blood, probably still too.
Yeah, you don't look in very good shape. You are dirty and probably stinky, and yes, of course. So do you guys get down and gather around?
I mean ogre blood, but yes.
All right. Do you guys introduce yourselves
Cleveland
to them?
jumps down with a sigh. Because it more tall people.
I'll start. I'll say, I am Theros, son of, and voice will crackle a little bit, Borag and Kalnassi.
Well met.
Nerda.
Beautiful name.
Bow my head at the compliment.
Others?
Fleegan! And you got some nice looking tattoos. I like that color.
You see him smile. And he nods.
I didn't know you tattoo the inside of your thighs too, man.
I'll grab.
He reaches a he reaches a very, very large hand, even bigger than Theros's, and doesn't pat you on the head as you would expect, because everybody likes to rub the head. He just kind of pats you on the shoulder, and you can tell that he's trying to give you a very light pat. And the fact that he's so big and so large, it feels like he's trying to bury you in the snow. You feel your feet kind of sink down in the packed down snow a little bit. The other one that spoke looks at Kimber, raises an eyebrow.
I'm Kimber Rand, part of the Blue Veil troop, and now orphaned with the rest of us. We've buried our family yesterday, and we seek the information that you have so that we can rescue what's left of them.
And that I hope to provide, my friend. It is good to know one such as you, a follower of some of the most important and appropriately so deities of our world. And then he shifts his gaze over to Gror, indicating a desire to know your name.
He says, I am Gror Grudgeholder. Hail and well met.
As well, I'm sure you would hold a grudge as to what you have endured these days. My friends, let us cut to the chase. We are hunting the same quarry that slaughtered your kin. Had we been here a day earlier, we might have prevented this tragedy. Sadly, we are too late. But now that you know this, we shall reveal ourselves to you, and I strongly encourage you to maintain your composure. And at the speaking of the words, the two raised their faces. And as one, they removed their hoods. And these are the two that you see. Aegeus and Shadrach.
Dun 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 dun.
For a
They are
moment,
Dunahadrin, correct?
for a moment, you are stunned. Standing before you are two dark elves. And that, my friends, concludes Chapter 3, The Coldest of Blood.
Jesus, great jest. What is this?
I'm digging the tattoos.
Yep. Well, my friends, we have reached the end of Chapter 3. Chapter 4 will begin in our next session. You have endured quite the tragedy. You got through it with much composure, much more composure than I had. I will be honest with you, it was very hard for me to not lose it during most of that. But I applaud you for a wonderful session of roleplay.
I
Chapter 4
was
starts.
dreading this session, but I'm so glad we got to it.
Chapter 4 is starts us into the broader aspects of the campaign. Congratulations. You have all earned level 3.
Whoa.
Wait. Rage! I can get rage!
Yes, you can multi-class into barbarian or into
Barbarian.
barbarian if you would like to.
Barbarian thief. Makes perfect sense.
But
That's what Conan is, right?
Oh, after that tragic session, I think we all should go barbarian and get rage.
You know, there's a lot of motivation there. You know, the old trope of, you know, what is my character's motivation, and that's because my family or my village was burned down or something like that. It's kind of funny how this adventure kind of goes that route, but we also talk about how we spend 3 entire chapters and nearly 40 sessions getting to the point to where that becomes your motivation in your
The
background.
adventure begins. Yeah.
The adventure begins. And that is the truth. You know, 3 chapters in, you know, 40 hours of game time. Well, no, more than that, I'm sorry. Almost 40 sessions. 120 hours of game time. And the adventure begins.
Well, just remember, every good story needs a good backstory. That's
Yes.
all we're doing.
Yes. Prelude. You know, preamble. So, friends, it has been wonderful. Thank you for tonight. I appreciate it very much. So I hope that those who take the time to watch this adventure have enjoyed it, that your minds have been opened by wonder, and that you you have a desire to continue to check out and stick with us as we proceed in our adventure. I'm going to go ahead and let our viewers go for the evening. Thank you for watching. We hope that all of your adventures continue to be sticky.
Ah,
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
let me play something for him real quick.
All right. Well, my friends, congratulations on chapter 3, or chapter 3, wow, finishing chapter 3, gaining level 3. I have work to do for chapter 4. I need to get, I will not drag this out. I will not make us, wait too